Hello everyone, my name is Runzi. Welcome back to another episode of Co-Star, and today we're taking a look at the 2019 Infiniti QX60. Let's roll the clip. Welcome back everyone. I hope you all enjoyed the cinematic we did for the 2019 Infiniti QX60, and I know there's a lot of debate online on this vehicle with the styling and the interior as well. If you're unfamiliar with the vehicle, this is the next generation of the JX35. Now for Infiniti, all of their model lineup have been refreshed to the Q lineup. Qs for sedans and coupes, and QX for their SUV. Very unique to its brand, but I feel like Infiniti has lost some kind of direction or personality to their vehicles, right? So if you're unfamiliar with this vehicle, let's take a closer look at some of the key features and highlights I really enjoy in this car. I mean, looking at the front, the very signature Infiniti grille is right in the middle. But one key feature on the styling part of the QX60 is the chrome theme that's saturated in the front, side, and the rear bumper. So as you can see, the chrome hugs the nose, and this kind of finish is in a black and gunmetal finish. Very nice and pleasant to look at. The badge is quite big as well, and we're looking at the essential package of the QX60, which is just a little bit above the base, right? Sitting at around just over 55 grand Canadian. I feel like there's some kind of features that should be included, but it is not, right? So the essential package will have the 360 camera, frontal camera over here, and on the lower bottom, you have a smaller mesh to complete the mesh on the top. As you can see, the headlights share a lot of similarities with other Infiniti models, as well as Nissan cars as well, especially this strip of daytime running light found in a lot of the Nissan vehicles. I feel like Infiniti and Nissan should have a strong distinction between the two brands, even though they're the same company, right? Same with the Acura and Honda, or the Toyota and Lexus. I feel like those kind of companies have very strong distinctions between the luxury brand versus the entry-level vehicles, right? So looking at front, we're gonna finish off with a pair of fog lights with the meshes as well. As you can see, the chrome accents hug the fog light as well. The front of this vehicle, or the styling, is very rounded, not too much sharp lines and dominant lines. For me personally, I love the SUV with defined lines, very rigid, like the RAV4, Tiguan, or even the Chevrolet Blazer, right? Looking at the profile of the vehicle, again, more softer lines on the body panels, but here you can see the chrome accent that hugs all the windows with some pretty interesting design, especially on the rear, right? This is a third row seating vehicle. The rear windows are actually quite big for the viewing pleasure for anyone sitting in the third row. And this groove over here, pretty unique to the side panel as well. Adds just a little bit of the personality. Now the essential package comes with a set of 18-inch aluminum alloy wheels done in two tones, silver and a machine gray-ish finish, right? You do have the optional 20-inch aluminum alloy wheels if you move up to the next trim line. Moving at the rear side of the vehicle, again, more chrome accents of the theme with the Infiniti designation on the rear bumper, as well as the badging and the model as well. Unfortunately, the essential package does not come with hands-free power liftgate. I mean, this car is oriented towards the family need, right? So essentially, I do believe features like this should be a standard, especially you're paying this price, right? I mean, for a fully loaded Tiguan, which sits around about 42 grand, about 15 grand cheaper than this car. It has all the fancy features that you need, especially very cool feature on the Tiguan in comparison to any other SUV is that the delayed power liftgate, which means that anytime you tap this button, you can do whatever you want in the rear trunk, and as soon as you leave, the trunk will close with the key or the departure of the key, right? So that kind of feature, to me, I feel like it's very family oriented and keeps the convenience in there as well. As you can see, rear cargo space, very convenient. And once again, guys, the convenience stops here at the essential package. What I mean by that is that these seats are all manual folding, but with the next trim line, these seats do fold back automatically, so you don't have to reach in and pull the seats back. So these options, once again, for the convenience and for the family orientation vehicle, should be a standard option, in my opinion, at this price point. And of course, the second row fold 60/40, so you can extend all the way of the rear cargo space into the second row. Pretty cool and very, very spacious. A lot more spacious than its competitor, which is the MDX or the Audi Q7, right? And finishing up with the styling of the rear bumper, you have the spoiler on top and some pretty cool grooves right here in the bottom of the rear bumper. And you can obviously add the towing package of the QX60 in case you want to take your family out and you have a boat or whatever, and this car is very capable of towing that for you. The interior of the QX60 is very heavily debated online because, in my opinion, it's very outdated. There isn't anything innovative or make anything pop, especially it is considered a luxury vehicle, right? But overall comfort definitely wins me by a mile. It's all saturated with leather steering wheel, soft touch panels, and with the essential package, you do have the Bose audio system, which to me, a very key feature for any family need, right? Looking at the steering wheel, I mean, to me, it's lacking a little bit of styling points. Once again, these kind of styling is very outdated if you're very familiar or been driven Infinitis for your past vehicles, right? Here's something that's very interesting for me is the gauges in front of me. You have your left and right gauge, and the center gauge is pushed all the way back. So depending on how you drive, I like to kind of put my seat back a little bit, so I'm very relaxed like that. I don't sit up straight, which I think that should be the proper way to drive. But if I'm very relaxed, I have to really look up to see what's going on in the center gauge because it's so pushed back. So I do believe that if you sit up straight and you're looking down in it, it's the perfect way to view the centerpiece of information, right? So this depth of field to me is very uneasy to look at, but then again, different preferences for different people. That's why different vehicles exist, right? And on my left-hand side, you do have your memory seat and your power options. And what's cool about the luxurious feel of the Infiniti QX60 is the white stitching that you can find all over the place on the seat, in the rear seat as well. This panel over here is kind of like a plastic-ish, looking like aluminum-ish panel. Pretty cool. Found all over the vehicle as well for, you know, the added luxury touch. And here's something that's very Nissan and Infiniti specific if you're unfamiliar, right? So there's some buttons right where my left knee is. To me, I feel like these buttons, I do use it quite often, and by reaching it like that, I do feel like it's pretty inconvenient, right? Especially the heated steering wheel is over here. I would like it if the heated steering wheel is on the freaking steering wheel so I can just press it, right? So this kind of design, to me, not my cup of tea, but you may like that versus my personal taste, right? And here is the most outdated styling part of the interior of the QX60. It's the centerpiece right here. I mean, this shift knob, to me, is quite nice, pretty elegant. Definitely a lot different. I like the Infiniti badge on top of it. And of course, I'm very traditional. I like the stick shift transmission gear selector. Here's where your heated seats are. But you have 6 different levels to adjust your heated seats. I mean, cool, I guess. I'm usually used to, you know, high or low, right? I'm pretty sure you guys are used to high or low or even 3 levels of heated seats, right? And in the center, it's a little bit of a scroll for your sport, eco, and snow. Very useful for the Canadian weather. And in the middle compartment, you have 2 levels. One is for upper opening and one is for lower opening. Pretty cool, and that's where your USB is. You can plug that in and put your phone there. But guess what, guys? This car is not equipped with Apple CarPlay or Android. It's such an essential feature, especially once you're used to it for other vehicles, right? But forget about that. For 57K, this car is not even equipped with wireless charging. Why you guys do that? But looking at the centerpiece, this part, first thing you notice is very ovally and it's outwards, right? So the climate control is right here. Here is where your, I guess your buttons for your center screen, and below is for your media. So I think this over here, in my opinion, is very complicated to look at. I don't know if that makes sense to you. And of course, this is the 8-inch display screen, touch screen as well. But look at the graphics. Okay, I feel like I'm playing RuneScape once again in this vehicle, but the saturation and coloring, in my opinion, is not too bad. It's just the design, I guess the resolution is a little bit cheaped out for the QX60. Touchscreen, very responsive, but what's cool about this compartment over here is its 360-degree rear view camera. Very nice, I like that a lot. Look at that, you can see your wheel in different view, and of course, oh, wow, it doesn't even turn when you turn the wheel. I'm pretty sure it does. Oh, there you go. 8. And if this car detects something with its radars or sensors, this camera will come on to let you know that, hey, pay close attention to what's going on to your left, right, or things in front of you, right? So that's pretty cool. And this car, the essential package, is equipped with the sunroof. I do wish the black headliners will be a standard option in the QX60. It's a luxury car. Black is very sophisticated, elegant. This should only belong to entry-level vehicles, right? So let's change that. Maybe that will add some brownie points for this car in the future, right? So, but the overall feeling and the overall message for this car is family, and family-oriented. The comfort really shines in the second row of the QX60. Look at my leg space and my head space. Very comfortable to sit in, especially the center part over here is flat, so you don't have to separate your legs like some of the other vehicle, right? Great feature about the QX60 on the second row is the ability to slide all the way forward and backwards. Look at how much travel distance I have for the second row, and I can recline the seats as well, right? So you can really do some personalization and adjustments on how you want to sit in the second row. Unfortunately, what I do wish that it will become a center option is the rear heated seats for those cold Canadian weathers. The cool patterns and the white stitching follows all the way into rear doors as well. Pretty cool, but I don't understand why the rear windows don't go all the way down. For me, that's a miss. Maybe for safety features or whatever, that your child doesn't go all the way through the window. Is that a thing, guys? I'm not quite sure. But it kind of bothers me, for my personal preference, that it doesn't go all the way down. Another cool feature on the second row is that you can still latch your child's seat and get into the third row, and you can still fold the seat as well. I know a lot of the other competitors in the market, you have to take out the child's seat so you can fold the seats and get into the third row. So the QX60 definitely won this segment over here. Depending on the height of your second row passengers, you can see how much leg space I have in the third row, right? So this is pushed all the way forward, and I have great leg space even in front of my knees, right? So pretty comfortable sitting in the third row, and I am 6 feet tall. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4 cup holders, which is a little bit excessive for the third row seats. But if you have kids, you want to give them 2 drinks per road trip. So kind of smart there for the Infiniti QX60. And look how big the rear window is. Definitely for the great viewing pleasure, especially for long road trips. And here's where the speaker is, right next to the headrest for that crisp audio Bose sound system. And if your kids are, very heavily emphasized on the iPads and the iPhones, you have 2 rear USB charging ports for them to look at their phone for the entire road trip, because kids love phones. I'm gonna pop that on sports mode. Great response, actually, not too bad. Gonna get off this off-ramp on the 401 East. Who here hates driving on the 401? Leave in the comment section below, because I sure do, especially in rush hour time. As soon as I put my foot down on the throttle, the RPM changes right away from, around 2,500 to almost 5,000 RPMs. Pretty sporty in a sense as well, even though this is a 3.5 liter V6 engine giving you 295 horsepower and 270 pound-feet of torque. I know a lot of people are a little bit turned off by the CVT transmission, but it's so smooth and very enjoyable, as well as more fuel efficient, right? So for a family vehicle, especially if I have kids, I would prefer a CVT transmission over a 6 or 8 speed. I'm gonna punch that. This is kind of one of the reasons why I love Japanese cars, is that we can rev this vehicle to about 6, 7, or even 8,000 RPMs. Pretty good engine response noise as well, but if you're not looking for that, then this might be a turnoff for you, right? So for 6, 8, 9, or 10 speed automatic transmission, if I was just driving and carrying my spouse or even just one passenger, that is definitely the way to go. But for that additional smoothness, for me, you know, especially have toddlers or kids, I will want the transmission to be a CVT, so they can't even complain about how even the ride is, right? Suspension soft, very enjoyable, but I can't expect anything less for a luxury SUV, right? And I kind of like the purple look to the gauges of Infiniti Dash, right? So very easy to look at and quite unique as well. And even on the acceleration and how hard I push on the throttle, the acceleration is very constant, very smooth, and I can definitely see why this is a go-to family vehicle for the QX60 or even its competitors on the market, right? This isn't really, in my opinion, a driver-oriented vehicle. It is definitely designed for families. And if you were to, go for a 6, 8, 9, or 10 speed automatic transmission, unless you have a dual clutch transmission, you will always have that kind of a jolty feeling here and there, no matter how smooth they may made it seem to be. But then again, for me, I'm not there yet. I don't have children. I don't have, my grandparents to carry and all of that. So I don't look for these kind of things, right? So, for me, this isn't an SUV for me, but for a family man or anyone with a large family, especially requires third row seating, this is a perfect solution. So that's it for me today, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the review and the cinematic we did for the 2019 Infiniti QX60. I want to give a quick thank you to 401 Dixie Infiniti for letting us experience this vehicle. Make sure you slap that subscribe button, give us a like, and help us reach to 10,000 subscribers. My name is Runz, and I will see you on a brand new episode of Cold Start next Saturday.